I was recently asked about how to sharpen an axe. It was in a discussion group, so I figured I'd do a video real quick on how to sharpen an axe, because I got this one, used it a few times, but it's still dull from the factory. So let me move the camera and we'll get started with this. So take the little rubber sheath that comes off with it. I will be getting a leather sheath for this sometime. Alright, you need a file. This is much longer than you need. Any mill bastard file will work. 8 inches, 10 inches are really nice. And you can find these old Made in America Nicholsons. They're great. You can't buy a Made in America file anymore as far as I know. But Nicholsons are still good, even the Made in Mexico ones. Alright. So to start sharpening, we want to push the file away from the blade, away from the cutting edge. You don't want to go this way, because as you sharpen it, you don't want to slip and cut yourself. So away from the cutting edge. And files are only designed to cut one direction. Yes, this file is really dirty. I need to get a file card to clean it out. But like I said in my last couple videos, I'm cleaning and organizing. I don't know where my file card is, or my shorter file that I usually use on axes. So let's get started. So what you want to do is just drag the file across. And push. Files only cut one direction, so you want to push away from you and pick the file up. I don't know how well the camera can pick this up. Oh, yeah, it shows up pretty decently. You can see where I filed, and then you can see down here where it's dull or where I haven't hit it with the file yet. So what the file does, two things. It removes some of the metal. It also pushes the metal out of the way to shape it the way you want it. Different theories on how to sharpen axes, what angles and all that stuff. I'm not going to go in that today, but I am going to say that usually there's a file by a machine, so you have what's called a convex. Let's see, convex, because it's, concave, because it's sharpened by a grinding wheel that removes more material in the middle. You can have a flat grind, which the sides are, like it's flat, which is pretty common on better quality axes. I prefer, if I can get my hands, convex. Hard to get in the angle of the camera. So it goes out and makes a wider edge. It's not as sharp, but you're not looking for sharp, like pocket knife sharp. You're looking for the ability to cut and chunk off wood and split wood. Like this is a boy's axe. It's really good for cutting and splitting. It's not really good. It's not great at either, but it can do both. Some axes are designed just for splitting, and some are designed just for felling. Camp axes, boys axes, there's a few other axes that are designed to do both. So instead of holding the file flat, because I like that convex edge, I tend to roll the file as I sharpen it. And the file is the tool you use to shape the metal, remove nicks, that kind of stuff. The file really doesn't sharpen it. It's just there to shape and clean up the edge. And you want to do both sides. For the sake of the video, I'm not going to do both sides. And then I have in this nesting cup, my Nalgene water bottle fits in here, so this cup doesn't take up any room in a backpack, and you can cook out of it and boil water to sterilize it. But in here, some water and this dual grit sharpening puck. I like the pucks because they're easier to handle than a big stone for doing stuff like this, and they can fit in your pocket. They're easy to take with you if you're going to be doing a lot of work. Now make sure you keep your fingers back so they don't get cut. And then you want to take it and do circles with it, using the coarse side first. And probably should start out with a flat grind, it's easier to do. But as you get used to it, you can roll the stone to get the convex edge, if that's what you're after. And you could use oil in these, but once you use oil, you always have to use oil. So I always use water. This is a Lansky's puck. I'll put a link to Amazon. It's not an affiliate link. I need to set those up, but I will put an Amazon link. All right. Now, these hardware store axes with the wooden handles, they come with this varnish. If you use it a lot, you'll get blisters from the varnish, and I don't like the way the varnish feels. So let's talk about removing it. Let's put the little rubber sheath on it so I don't cut myself. So let's talk about removing the varnish. All right. You can use lacquer thinner, paint thinner, stuff like that. I prefer to use a knife. Now you can use a little knife like this little open L that I love. You can use, if you use the knife, make sure you pull. You're not pushing the blade into it because you'll dig into the wood. But I prefer to use the back edge of the knife, as long as it has a nice crisp 90-degree spine. And you can see the little pieces of plastic falling off. That's the varnish. If you don't have a knife like that, a cheap box cutter, utility knife here, drag its blade backwards. It doesn't work as well, but it will do the job. I have this Mora chisel knife, talked about in my tool video. It doesn't have a 90-degree spine, and you gotta use it right-handed for this job. But let's see how well it works. Okay, don't recommend this guy for this job. I've never tried it, so. This is a cheap Mora knockoff. Believe it or not, as cheap as Mora knives are, this thing's even cheaper, that I found at Walmart. And the spine on this thing is really sharp. The blade's not so much. But it should remove, yeah. Yep, this is the winner I'm going to use to remove the rest of it. For the stickers, you can use a hairdryer or a heat gun if you have one to heat up the stickers and remove them, or you can just scrape through them. Your axe, your choice. Put this back in the G. And then, I don't have any with me, but take an old t-shirt, put boiled linseed oil on it, and cover the handle in boiled linseed oil. Do that every day or so until the wood quits soaking the linseed oil up. If you don't do that, the handle will dry out, and check. And make sure every now and then you once every year or so, you reapply the linseed oil to keep the handle from drying out. Checking. And a huge safety tip. Let me move the camera back up here. I don't know if you've ever heard of oily rags catching on fire, but boiled linseed oil covered rags will easily catch on fire. So grab an old mason jar, an old salsa jar, something like that, and shove the oily rags in there. You can keep reusing them over and over again, but you want them in a fireproof, airtight container, so if it does happen to just spontaneously combust, it won't go spread or anything. And they only spontaneously combust if they get so hot. It's usually where that usually comes from is them setting in a shop somewhere where it's really hot, or near something hot. Or the other thing is if you leave the rags outside in the hot sun, they can spontaneously combust. I've never had that happen, but boiled linseed oil is like supposedly one of the worst at spontaneously combusting. And I got one little thing to add here. As I was saying, the file removes steel and pushes the steel and shapes the axe. The reason it does that is because it's significantly harder. It's abrasive, but the significantly harder than the axe is why I can do that. I have an easy out here I got for demonstration. It has nothing to do with axis. It is extremely hard. Sorry about that, the camera died. So the easy out is extremely hard. Several times harder, or I wouldn't say so, but significantly harder, that's the word I'm looking for, than the file. So I don't know how well you can hear it, but the file the easy out just glances off the file. Nothing the file can do can really shape the easy out. If you look at it, it's not even really, it just knocks some of the dirt off. Now, in Proverbs, not sure where, I forgot to look it up, but in Proverbs, the Bible says, like iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens the other. So if you're too hard, then you can't be shapen by other people and sharpened and become a better servant of God and a better person. You have to be soft and willing to take that correction. And I don't mean soft like one of these, hipster skinny jean wearing people that cry when they watch Bambi, even though Bambi is kind of a sad movie for kids. Anyway, I mean, you have to have a soft heart, willing to take the corrections, willing to take that adjustment. If your heart's hard, you'll never be able to take the corrections from your friends, from even a book you read, or even from God. And what it means by sharpen, like this axe, if it's dull, can't do what its job is. And I've used it a couple of times and forced it to do its job, and it sucked at it. It was uncomfortable. It took a lot more work for me. So once this axe is all sharpened up and shaped the right way by the file, it'll be able to do its job the way it's supposed to. So if we have a soft heart and accept the corrections from God and advice and corrections from others, we will be able to do our job in life and what God sent us here to do and complete our missions. So thank you for joining me. I hope you guys have a great day. God bless. And until I see you next time.